And I get a call from Dad on December 26th, my client. And he said, Gary, we're going to have this signed in a couple of days. And he goes, I'm having a problem with my youngest daughter. And he goes, you told me you'd have these conversations with my kids. Now, this is the day after Christmas. Yes, I told you that. He said, can you come up here tomorrow and have a meeting with her? She's in town, and they're from California, and her husband's here. I said, fine. So have her up. So I go up and I meet Bob, and Bob tells me, he said, Gary, he said, here's what I want you to tell her. Because I have not told her this yet. He said, if she does not sign the documents and she does not agree to this, and it's ready to go tomorrow, he said, I want you to tell her she's out. And I looked at him. This is normally where I get to see people smile and go, oh my. I said, excuse, what do you mean out? He said, I'm just writing her out. She's not going to get anything. He said, I've been dealing with this so long. We've got a good system. We've got everything. I got 5 kids in that are ready to do this. They're just going to get a bigger share. And I said, and he goes, and you told me that you would tell everybody that if I needed to. And I've always told parents that and owners that, but no one's ever taken me up on it. And that's what I was thinking. So next thing I know, I was like, here I am. I got to go tell this lady. So 26-year-old female comes in. Dad wasn't in the room. She comes in the kitchen where I'm at. And I said, do you realize what's going to happen if you don't sign this form? I said, is there a problem? So we sort of went through some things. And she said, and she started tearing up. And she said, it's not me, it's my husband. She goes, he doesn't want me to sign. He said, it's not fair. So I said, bring him in. At this point, I had nothing to lose. So I had him in, talked to him. I said, do you realize what's going to happen? I said, if she does not sign this today in this agreement and is ready to go tomorrow, I said, that's just saying you guys are out 100%. So I walked him through what I consider fair and equitable and sweat equity and those types of things. And he goes, it's probably okay. It's fine. Let's do it. So we worked through that. I guess my point of the whole thing is family dynamics controlled that whole sale all the way through, that whole situation. Now, I'm giving you a brief overview. We had valuations done. We had a management team looked at. We had all of our accountants had different viewpoints and a couple different things, how we set some things up. The attorneys did all the agreements. So, I mean, we had a whole team of people. I act like I did the whole thing, and I didn't, believe me. I sort of worked pieces with everybody and making sure everybody's staying on track. But that's sort of one of those things I'll talk about here in a minute about having a team together. But so it's key for everybody to understand we're going to have things that sidetrack us. And I think that's fair. Just understand that. Don't get afraid. Don't be afraid of that. You've got to decide, I got to get this done, because if I don't do anything, the situation is worse. All right. So I think that's very, very important. So that's my first example of the day. And it was a doozy when I did it. It took, I act like it took like 3 weeks to do. It took about 1.5 years to get that done and get them through everything and get value. I mean, it really did. And here's another point where I bring this up. I am not and I want you to understand there's people all around you, Southern Indiana, that do what I do. And we all work differently. I do not charge a fee for what I do. My bottom line is, if you guys or anyone needs insurance products, basically to fund a buy-sell agreement or whatever it is, I just ask that you give me a chance to do it. Because if I've worked with you for 1.5 years, chances are, I was telling Nancy this earlier, we're probably friends and you're not going to go to anybody else anyway. There are people that charge fees to do this same thing. Is it any better or any worse either way? I don't think so. I think it's important that you do it. You're just going to charge a fee with them, then they're going to hire people out to do different things for you. It's sort of the same thing. You get to the end line the same way. So again, worked 1.5 years with these people, nothing there. But I knew that I was helping them out. I knew I was helping the kids out. And in the end, sure, it worked out for me too, because we ended up doing some insurance to make sure the kids were all taken care of. So some other questions. If you or your partner die unexpectedly, and these are questions that when I read one of these to you guys, if it bothers you, circle it, put an X by it. Go home and talk to your spouse. Go home and talk to your CFO. Go back to the business and talk to your kids. and sort of start this process. So if you or your partner die unexpectedly, what will happen to your business after my death if I don't plan ahead? It's just going to go to my wife. No big deal. Okay. Well, have you really thought about that? Can your family continue to operate the business? Is key person coverage in force that provide much needed cash? So I'm talking to a guy late last week. I was going to say yesterday, but it wasn't yesterday. It was late last week. Value of the business is $8-9 million. He's got a farm business on the side. And he said, hey, I've got a big term policy that I've got that the company owns on me. And now we're talking about a guy that probably does 90% of the work. As far as knowing what's going on, 90% of the work. And he said, if something happens to me, the company's going to get plenty of money to make sure it works and runs for, I'm thinking $9 million valuation. I'm thinking he's got quite a bit of coverage. So he said, I would like you to take a look at it because it's getting ready to go away. It's got a $250,000 life policy. And I looked at him and I said, this was done 30 years ago. It was a 30-year term. And I said, right when they first came out, I said, at 30 years, I said, 30 years ago, $250,000 was a lot of coverage. And your business wasn't worth $9 million. So from a key person standpoint, when you're looking at who your key people are, put a true value on them. And if you've never done that or don't know how to do that, again, working with someone with me that says, how much of what this person does, how much of it controls what percentage of your sales or what percentage of your revenue. And really, if you want to make sure that if something happens to them, the business continues to at least have a cash flow for a little while till the plan comes together again, that's something that we work on and can help you with. So key person coverage is very important in a succession plan. Will your partners pay your family for a fair price for your business? People always ask me that. Well, what's the fair price? And I think Nancy or someone is going to talk to you about different valuation options and some different things. And I have different options also. But that's something I think that will go over at the end. Does your plan accommodate siblings or heirs with different skill levels of interest in your business, active or not? There again is a key point that grinds people to a halt. What do I do with second generation? Or it's already second generation, and now it's getting filtered out even more into third generation, because third generation now, instead of just having 4 kids, now you got 12 kids at the third generation. And you got a bunch that aren't active, and you got some that might be, so you have a whole lot of different planning and moving parts to that. So a process that goes in and looks at someone's succession plan is ongoing. It's going to keep moving. It's a moving process that keeps going on. And if your guy comes in and does a plan with you and then says, I'm going to touch base with you every year and just to make sure, see things are going. If it's been 5 years since you've talked to that person, it's probably not a good person to work with. You need to have someone that's going to stay with you and talk to you and, have a lunch or dinner once or twice a year and say, how are things going, and that type of thing. I think that's key in working with a family to do this. So back to, will your partners pay your family a fair price for your business? I think that's, again, the valuation. But accommodating siblings or heirs with different skill levels.